All right, welcome to the second episode of Kino with Khan. It is, you don't know what the show is called. It's a podcast where I get very fun guests and friends on. They choose a film, I watch it, and then we discuss why they made me watch that film. Our guest today is a close friend, a comedian who's performed in LA, New York, London, Fringe Edinburgh, Fringe Melbourne, all over Southeast Asia, an actress, a writer, Isabella Charlton. Wow. Thanks for being here, Isabella.
Introduce you now.
They already know. The 5 people listening to this, they know who I am.
He's a star.
And Isabella chose for a film, which we just finished watching, Rosemary's Baby. And to put the guest on the spot immediately, you have to give a 2-minute synopsis of Rosemary's Baby.
Just a summary.
Just a summary. You can spoil it as much as you want because it's been out for
A long time.
50 years.
Yeah. It's a film from the 60s. It's about a woman who moves into a new apartment with her husband and gets pregnant, and then slowly starts to suspect that her apartment has a coven living opposite her between the walls, and that they're going to kill and eat her baby. And then there's a surprise twist at the end that it's not really her baby. Well, it is her baby, but it's not her husband's baby. Devil's baby.
And they do keep the baby.
Yeah, but she gets to be the mother, and she finds out her husband betrayed her and used her to advance his career by signing off on her being used as the devil's wife, baby mama.
Devil's concubine, if you will. And then the whole film is her getting gaslighted by her husband and all the neighbours.
Literally everybody.
They're giving her like weird drinks that make her sick and everything like that, just to keep her going. And
But no, I think the beginning, the first trimester, I think they're giving her something weird because they don't want her immune system to fight the baby. So they're giving her something to suppress her immune system, I think.
oh, really?
That's my interpretation.
I thought actually that's a pretty good one. I didn't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was
They're
thinking.
like, don't worry, you're going to get healthy later on.
Well, no, 'cause she's like dying from it. I thought it was like supplements that help the baby, but were hurting her.
Yeah, okay.
Because like whatever, so it's a half demon, it's a half devil
Well,
baby.
yeah, but I mean, suppressing your immune system is hurting you. And then by the time she gets into like the second, third trimester, it's all equalized. Her body's used to it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Healthy lady.
Directed by Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Don't really, great director. Haven't heard much from him in a while.
Yeah.
He's been in Europe a lot. Must love the
I
food
didn't realize
there.
how old he is. He's 90.
He's a personal hero of yours. That's what I've heard. That's why you picked this movie.
I actually want to believe that you can separate art and the art. I really follow the Jungian principles that all art is in the collective unconscious. And we all have a stake in it and a right to it, and it shouldn't be destroyed
By the artist's work.
because of the artist in cancelled.
Well, I get it. So I want to do the Polanski stuff first.
I also think you can analyze the film based on what you know about.
That's what I was bringing up as well. So the main witch, which is used for both men and women in this film, progressive, is named Roman,
Yeah.
and he's the one who's facilitating the like rape of Mia Farrow and then the devil baby and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so when when the book was written, I was looking it up. The guy, before even the publisher had signed off on it, the guy had sent it to like production houses being like, hey, this is a
That's really
film.
interesting,
And they
'cause I
wanted Roman
started
Polanski.
Listening to the audiobook, I listened to one chapter and it's not written like a book at all. Like it's not, like, most books are like told and you can hear the character's thoughts.
Yeah.
It's written like a movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like you literally can feel like you're just watching a movie. You're not in their head.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I think he thought of it as a film more than anything. And then they went to like 2 directors before. They sent it to Polanski with another film. And then he was like, no, I want to do this one more than the other one. And so, yeah, it does really, you watch this film and the guy's like, Roman's trying to kill me. It's like, well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's like, and then it's an actor trying to make it as well.
They very much just, like, I remember being shocked the first time I watched it because they just, like, skim over the part that it's sort of a marital rape that she believes happens. Like, she believes she's passed out.
Yeah.
And he has sex with her.
Yeah.
Husband. And he's like, well, I was a bit drunk too. The reality is, it was actually, she was drugged and raped by the devil. But she's told by her husband it was him. And then we were like, in the movie, that's meant to be okay.
Yeah, because I think it was a different time. Because, like, honestly, like
But
marital
she's
rape.
like, why did you do that?
Yeah, she's like, well, all right. I was passed out. And he was like, hey, I was horny.
She's also like, but you wanted a baby, so this is kind of your fault.
Yeah. Yeah, that is glossed over a little bit. But I actually thought for a split second they were going to be like classic husbands, but then she's like, I'm not a fan of that. And then,
She's not a fan of that, but there's a realism to it, because it's like, if you're married, especially at that time,
yeah.
what are you going to do or say? Like, what, you're going to divorce this guy over this? Like,
Yeah.
you have counseling? Like, he thinks it's normal. He's normalized it. It's just so difficult. It's really difficult to be in a relationship with somebody where there's
In the
some level
70s.
of and then normalizing it, and like,
Yeah, this whole film is a lot of gaslighting.
yeah.
So when she's like thinking that like, oh, something's wrong with me, I'm ill, these people next door are fucking weird, why do we only hang out with old people? And then he's like giving his interpretation, like making her feel, trying to trick her. But sometimes even like, maybe it's because it's the 70s, but like I was like, you should see through this, you know?
Yeah, there's like a moment when he's like, when was it? When he's saying, he's trying to give like excuses, and his excuses just are so lame.
With the doctor.
Yeah.
When he's like, she's like, I want a second opinion from my
Yeah,
doctor.
he's like, you can't possibly, that's so rude.
It's so rude. It's so rude to our doctor. If you're gonna get a second opinion,
Like, he doesn't even know.
and like meanwhile, she's like, Mia Farrow is like lost quite a lot of weight for this part of the film. They like dyed her teeth. She looks like she's dying.
Also,
And,
she actually has for the time a very iconic pixie cut.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
which actually, to look like you're sort of so skinny you're dying in that pixie cut, that was like all the rage.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, that was like Twiggy. That was like.
I also love that. I love that like crazy time period or film where like your wife comes in with a new haircut, and then just go, "You look like shit."
What does he say? It's like, that is the most terrible thing I've ever seen in my life.
And then it's not.
Really? But now so soon. It's like awful.
And then it comes up again,
What's
like
for dinner?
it's not as like, okay, that's his original reaction. Maybe you forgive him for that. But then like
Yeah. Later,
2 days later, he's like playing Scrabble. He's like, "That's the worst mistake you ever made, other than that fucking haircut." It's just like, what the fuck?
It's like really driving.
It's just like, it was like, whoa. And then like, that's what I like to see about women today, because that would be the divorce point right there.
I don't know. Things have normalized in relationships.
Really? You can't just. I don't think you're gonna go to a woman walk in and be like,
I've especially heard like, well, maybe it's older couples. I've heard them like get kind of mean with each other.
oh yeah, but that's like years in. But like,
Especially about money. I heard this old couple. They were just like, he was angry about how much money she spent or something.
oh really? Classic women be shopping.
Yeah, they were just the way people snipe at each other. Something.
Yeah, I think.
Quite real.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, I don't know.
Like no level of resentment.
Which is hard for, I don't know. I think everyone's kind of trained now to the point of like, if anyone comes up to you with a new haircut, you don't go like, fuck, you look hideous, and you're and you're crazy.
Would you just lie? You would lie.
Yeah, I'd lie. I would lie. Come on.
No, I would say like I preferred it before.
Oh really?
Yeah, I would say.
preferred it before. I thought it was a great film. I wanted to ask, okay, why did you choose this film?
I just thought
You gave me a list of other ones, and it was quite varied. So it was this,
it was very varied.
some like,
Heavyweights.
which looks I've not seen, but it
Really, really funny.
looked like a camp film for fat kids. No?
It's like an original Ben Stiller. A lot of Ben Stiller movies are like based off that movie.
Okay. And then the other one was
Was it Ben Knobs and Broomstick?
what?
Was it Ben Knobs and Broomstick?
Maybe. But yeah, so it was a comedy than this.
Yeah.
And then I was worried because like, so the first guy we had, Arthur Studham, is like this absurdist comedian, great writer, and he chose the 1970s film Zardos. And I was like, fantastic. And then he chose another 1970s film.
did, yeah.
And then I was like, no, we're just like the SEM. We're not picking up on anything. You know, like no one's gonna choose Thunderbolts or something.
Yeah.
But actually, then I was thinking that, and then I texted some friends like, I'm watching Rosemary's Baby, and they were like, like it's a classic film. Like it's very popular. It was a huge hit. It's like one of the first. Like if you search Rosemary's Baby comes up. So I think we're good on that front. But yeah, I didn't realize how popular the film was.
Polanski fan, because I looked up his other movies and the only one I'd seen was Macbeth.
Oh, really? I've seen
Also has
Chinatown.
witches. I love witches.
Chinatown,
I haven't seen that.
which is great, but it's a bit long. Ghostwriter, which might have been post Polanski gate, and but I didn't know.
Why did I love this? I love it because I love witches.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love the fashion. Like, I love the dresses she wears. I love the style. Like, I love the building. It's like apartment porn for me. That is like my perfect building to live in any city. Like high ceilings, old, classic.
Old people walking around.
Just old neighbours. Amazing.
Yeah, you like old people.
Don't have in the building unless they're being secretly murdered. I love that vibe. I'd love to have just old neighbours. Or maybe in a cupboard. And what else do I love about it? Just that you get inside her head, and like the fear around pregnancy that women have, and the fear about having children. It's all wrapped up in that as well.
I did pick up on that because I'm an ally, but I was thinking like, because I didn't know the film, I didn't know what's gonna happen. Like, so for the like whole second act, she's like sick, she's panicking, then the doctor's like, stop being such a Nancy. Stop being nervous. Stop reading books. Oh, that's funny as well. Just like telling women like no book learning. Right? But then I didn't know the film could end up being like, oh, she is just a bit mad. And it is like showing like, yeah, when you're pregnant, you're going, especially for the first time, I think.
Yeah, you're really heightened emotions.
Heightened emotions, and also you're going through things you've never experienced before. And
she also has heightened intuition. I feel like a lot of that stuff I wouldn't have realized.
Really? I think I don't realize something.
Like, it's an anagram. I would have been like, nope, not good at anagrams.
I did think that was great because there's always an anagram question on the pub quiz, and I write down the letters in a circle and then try to figure it out like that. I thought that was a great visual way of showing her doing the anagram with Scrabble, because they introduced it earlier. It's a bit of Chekhov Scrabble, like, you know, they were playing Scrabble together, and then later she pulls out the pieces, because otherwise her solving an anagram would be quite visually boring.
Like, I've got my Scrabble set. Yeah, it's visually shot really amazing.
It is.
Like every scene is just.
There's a great Joe Mandy joke. I think he starts his special with it. Like,
and it's also it's quite a long movie.
Yeah.
And then you've got me the whole way.
I thought at points I was like,
really?
But maybe that's because of my like,
there's enough in it.
Brain now.
Just like, I'm happy just looking at this apartment. I'm happy just looking at her dress. I'm happy just interacting with this old lady who's like so insane as a neighbor.
Maybe it's like a timing thing, because I like watch films like, as I say, like Oppenheimer. People are like, it's too long or whatever, and I really enjoyed it.
But that was also for an ADHD person. It was like new scene.
Yeah, I think that was
it.
it.
You barely touch on like the relationship with Florence Pugh in it, and she's barely in it, and then.
Yeah, but whereas this one, like, you know, there are scenes where it's like, even like that scene we just watched right now, where it's like, okay, she's woken up, the baby's dead, and then they do like 3 times people coming into the room and convincing her the baby's dead, which like obviously adds to the story and how like convincing it is.
So
yeah, it's a lot of build, but then I was like, also like, let's go. Also, she's like really bad at hiding that she's taking pills.
Oh. No, yeah.
She's
I was watching and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna learn anything.
Yeah, pill in mouth, drink the water, and then spit it out later.
I don't know, she made him salt.
I think that's what they do in like 12 Monkeys.
It's so good in like everyone, how people can treat you like you're mad, especially when you're a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
You're like the most vulnerable in society in a way. And she goes to this doctor, and he basically is like, yep, I believe you, and he doesn't, and he calls the witches to pick her up.
Well, I think that one is because, she does sound mad. So, for clarity, she goes and finds another doctor, tells her the whole story, and then he says he's going to help, but then just calls her original doctor and her husband to come pick her up. Yeah. And, like, if you were that doctor, and Mia Farrow came in, and she is quite, like, you know, hysteric. Yeah. And she's like, they're witches, they're trying to steal my baby. And you're like,
what he done what he said he was going to do. I'll just put you in this hospital. She's literally about to give birth like the next day.
Yeah, but it's the 70s. Like, you need to get your husband back here. Get you back in line. Yeah. But I also was thinking, because I've hung out with you before, and there's also like old movies. Oh, okay. Do you two more?
No, that was my brother's.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, do you more?
My brother tricks you.
I enjoyed that film though. Yeah. Are you more? Well, I was going to ask you, more like. No. Do you prefer classic movies?
I like
okay.
I really like a lot of movies. I don't know why this movie hit home. I'd never seen anything like it.
And when did you watch it?
Probably when I was in my 20s.
Okay. Yeah. So it's quite an interesting film to have that long-lasting effect. Yeah. I do think, like, so I watched Detective Pikachu this week. Okay. and it's one of those films that I can't remember it.
Yeah.
I was bad, and I was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then,
At the cinema or?
no, it was like, I came back and I just watched something while I was dinner, and I think the mark of like, one of the marks of a good film is the fact that I guess you can think about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I finished this, or like when I was watching this, I was like really engaged with it, even though I was watching it at like 11 p.m. on a
And I
Thursday.
love the twist in that it's like, yeah, they're bad, but they still want you to be the mother to the
Okay, so you said this like 10 minutes ago.
I feel like it's almost a happy
And I was like a bit confused with this. How is this happy?
Well, originally they tell her the baby's dead,
Yeah.
which is like totally unfair. It's crying and she knows it's a lie. And then she sees the baby and she's horrified because it doesn't have any eyes, because it's the devil, and it has strange feet and hands.
I was thinking
We never
hooves.
see the baby, and it's so well done. Her acting in that is so good that she
Yeah.
really, really does seem incredibly scared of the baby. Because
Yeah.
you just see her reaction, and it's like, oh my god, what is she seeing?
It's one of those things that no matter what you showed the baby to be, it wouldn't be satisfying.
Yeah.
So,
We're in the movie,
yeah.
yeah. Baby. But her reaction is just like beautiful. She can't believe what's happening.
Yeah.
And then she backs away, and then like, I don't know, 4 minutes later after she's had a cup of tea, she hears the baby crying and she's drawn to it. And Roman, the head witch, is like, you are the mother. Be a mother. And she can't help herself but be a mother. And that is just what it means to be a woman.
So the baby's the devil's son.
Yeah. But it's got her DNA too, I guess.
Yes.
She's not just a surrogate. Like, they could have just...
No, they
Yeah. They use her egg.
they like, yeah, she was raped. So in your eyes, it's
I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. None of this is okay.
but it's a happy ending
It is a happy ending.
because she's now, because of maternal instinct,
Yeah.
hooked on
Yeah.
to raising a literal devil
Yeah.
child.
Because she still gets to be a mother. Like, the movie starts with her desire to be a mother, and
Yeah.
it ends with it for being fulfilled, not in the way she expected, but fulfilled.
See, I was going to ask you before I saw you getting that sort of reaction to the film. Do you kill the baby?
What? No.
No, it's a devil baby,
It's her baby.
but it's gonna.
You see her listening to it crying, and you don't see her milk ducts, but you know she's feeling something.
Oh, no, her milk was coming out. Oh, what do you mean? They take her milk.
Yeah, they do, but like literally when she's sitting there, you don't see it coming through the dress. When it's,
Oh, okay, yeah.
that would have been maybe.
Is that something that happens?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like you could just hear a baby crying, and if you're full of milk, it just releases.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it can be really embarrassing, apparently.
But it's still like, okay, there are some theological questions I was going to run by you, but
Also, I find it really interesting about like watching it this time around. I got different things from it because I was like, my ex was very ambitious, and I'm like, would he have done that? And I think he might have done that.
oh, really?
Yeah, and I think I might have been sort of okay with it. Like I wouldn't
Really?
have said yes, but if I found out about it, I'd be like, okay, I guess we've made this plan. I guess we're halfway through. Let's just finish it off.
But
Now we're gonna.
isn't the whole point of a deal with the devil is that like it doesn't work out,
Yeah, and amazingly.
or you have to
now
give
it
up something that you
does.
don't?
Yeah.
So
She gives up her time, and her trust for her husband breaks down.
yeah. So for clarity, her husband makes a deal with them to like further his acting career. And I was thinking if this was a modern film, you know how at the end of the film, like loads of people come to see the devil baby, and if I was making that today, it'd be so funny to have like Hillary Clinton and stuff come in, and everyone's like
I randomly met her makeup artist yesterday.
Hillary Clinton's.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know it was her makeup artist, but someone said to this makeup, he was like a celebrity makeup artist, and someone said, who has the most beautiful skin you've ever seen? He goes, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, it's all those dead babies.
And he goes, I was like, has she had work done? He's like, no. She has a lot of facials, but she just has beautiful skin. I'm like, wow, I
It's
don't know if I noticed that.
it's also it's all the dead baby fetuses and all the Illuminati meetings. Sorry, I think it's
Yeah, maybe wrong.
they I thought that'd be funny. That'd be something for my red state people right there. I'd be like, I told you. But yeah, if where was I going with that? Okay, so it's a devil baby. Yeah, he advances his career. but like historically, or like not historically, but like in like fiction, deals with devils end up being like bad in some way.
Like you signed up for more than you could chew.
Yeah, and then also, so they say at the end, like, he's gonna bring back, like, the dark times and stuff like that, or he says,
Was it like when you listen to the specifics, it was like he is going to be the champion of the tortured. I'm like, well, that's not.
and bring vengeance on the world, though.
Yeah, I'm like, well, yeah, that's not.
The world does need a little bit of
No,
vengeance.
I'm against this, but you might not be. I don't know.
I would be, I would love to see, vengeance isn't the right word. You know, you want to see justice in the world. But if you'd love to, if he's going to bring a little vengeance around. But also, how's he going to do it? He's a little, he's a little no-hide, cloven guy. Is he going to run for office?
I don't know. I don't know if he can have some magical powers to change his face. I don't know. And then maybe The Omen is the next film. I love The Omen too.
Little devil baby thing going on here. But they, and then also, like, in Marvel, there's a character who's the son of the devil. And he's a good guy.
Okay.
So...
I mean, he's definitely meant to be bad, but he's in his infant form, and he's vulnerable, and he's a baby, and she's drawn to him. And I don't think you have to think beyond that. It's me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think there is a world where, like, if you have, like...
I'm a godly woman.
and I'm a godly man. This is a religious podcast. You gotta take time to pray right now in the middle. But also, that's the theological thing I was gonna bring up, because, like, it's very I guess it's part of it all, but, like, that I always notice in these films, like horror films and stuff like that, where they put, like, in hermeneutically in Abrahamic religions, that like, just do text scripture and stuff like that. So you're looking at Lutheranism, Islam, classic Judaism. They the devil is not, like, on equal footing with God and whatsoever. Yeah. He's just an angel who fell, all this sort of stuff. And but in this sort of thing, it's like in a lot of horror films or films that, like, with this the occult, they're like, oh yeah, the devil's winning the battle. It's like they're not like an equal footing thing. And it's very interesting, because that's something that was popularized a lot in art in the medieval age, especially, and fiction.
Well, it was more equal back.
Yeah, because it sort of makes up that sort of
well, I suppose
Jekyll and Hyde dichotomy of man sort of thing.
Babylon,
Yeah, the jihad, as they call it. That's what jihad means.
What does it mean?
Struggle.
Oh.
So it's like
With the devil?
No, struggle within self.
Oh, okay.
It's the most common use of the word jihad. Yeah. So when they say a jihad against someone, it's like a struggle against someone. But, like, the most common jihad is the one within self. Yeah, that's the most, like, that's the biggest jihad you'll have.
Ignorant to me. But I mean, I also like the way in the movie the devil worshippers are very benign. They're just kind of friendly neighbours.
Are they, though? Because what happened? Okay, so at the beginning of the movie...
Oh, no. Okay, sorry, they're not, though. But no. So at the beginning of the movie, she meets someone in the basement who's doing washing, and it's a girl, and she's like, I was a drug addict, and this elderly couple picked me off the street, and they just looked after me, and they're amazing. And then in the movie, you see that she's killed herself. And you hear...
Killed herself.
You hear them say, we shouldn't have told her. So the idea is that they...
I missed that.
...of the devil, but they told her beforehand. And so then they hatch the plot to not tell Rosemary beforehand.
Wait, I missed this. Okay, so when they say
said something along the lines of, like, oh, I knew we shouldn't have said anything to kind of about it.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of ruins the specialness of Rosemary. If that's an interpretation of it, because, like... Yeah. I thought the one thing that Rosemary could take away from all this, because they say to her, who's the woman who hangs out with Larry David? Susan? Like Jeff, you ever seen Curb, right? His wife, who reminds me a lot of the old woman. She's like, out of all the women in the world, I'm not gonna do the voice.
I feel like huge and bigging her up at that point. It's not true.
You don't think so?
They were literally looking for any surrogate.
Oh, really?
Lady, yeah.
So, because maybe now I feel bad. Maybe they're telling the crack woman, like, oh, we're witches, by the way. Do you want to join? Yeah. And then she killed herself or got killed.
I think they're like, well, the only reason we were helping you is want you to be the baby mother. And she's like...
But then my version speaks more to your idea of them being, like, kind of nice people. Maybe they just did take in this crackhead.
No,
and then they were like... okay.
Very...
Well, yeah, I feel even worse for Rosemary. They could have done it with anyone.
Yeah, they could have done it with anyone.
Well, I think she was special.
She just had, like, a horrible husband who was like, I will sell you to the devil.
Horrible. You were just saying you would be like...
No, yeah, my ex will.
How big's the check gonna be?
No, I'm saying if I was already in the middle of it, I would be like, okay.
Little devil baby that you have to raise.
I wouldn't agree with it.
But they do the ex was doing that, and then he goes like, I don't know, if you would have been, I forgot what I was saying. I try to break me back.
What did you think of him?
I thought he was a bad guy.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was an absolutely atrocious guy. Because I also like, I was saying that like you don't really know what's happening, but because I know it was like a horror film or whatever, I was leaning towards it is really happening.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then I was like, what is this guy's like thing? You know, he's got like a lovely wife.
He's very weak.
Yeah,
Very weak guy.
a weak man, and also it's also like in Blade films or vampire films, the people, the seductress, the temptress, you know, are usually like cool or like offering something that's like, you know,
Oh, and these are really old.
these are just really old people in like a New York apartment building. Yeah, come over for dinner. I made chocolate mousse, and then I gotta stop doing the voice. And then he's like so swept up in that. I was like,
They play to his vanity, right?
yeah,
The guy's literally like, I saw you in a play where you played the understudy and you got on stage once and you did a gesture. And I thought, wow, it was the best thing I'd ever seen. And he's like, really?
that's so true. Because if you said something specific like that to an actor,
Yeah.
they was like,
His head explodes. He's like, whatever you say is correct now. You know exactly who.
that's actually completely true. There was no like, yeah, actor was the perfect profession for that. Because the husband was a doctor, and they're like, we'll get you that.
10 years.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, the head of surgery, and he's like, I'm all right, actually. It's a bit more work, but with the actor, like, there's so much like ambition. Right, that's pretty work.
And it's also like, you could be a brilliant actor and fail
yeah,
and never make it.
and also like for the first like 20 minutes of the film, people keep saying like, oh, he's great. He's just gonna get his break. You know, he just needs his break. He needs his break. And now he's renting what looks like a fantastic. Also, that I was thinking about that because the whole vision
It's hard to believe that he's sort of this out of work actor almost.
in that sick flat.
And they can afford this amazing.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe
I guess that's New York.
70s New York. And so the reason we started doing this podcast is because I was like,
But it's also, they make the point, it's rent control. He was like, we cannot raise the rent more than 15%. And that is why it's so competitive to get it, because the price is quite low.
the reason I want to do this podcast because like I'm losing this flat in a couple of months, so I wanted to spend time out here, an excuse to hang out with friends, but force people to hang out with me.
Yeah, wow.
But I was watching it and I was like, I saw them like walking around the flat. He's like, yeah, I'm an out of work actor and stuff, and I was like, what the fuck? We should have been buying property in New York in the 70s.
True. I mean, even after that, they were like giving away houses.
They
were giving away these houses in Brooklyn because they were like just like squatters in them. And the city was like, will you just take this off our hands? And if you live in it and you renovate it, it's like yours for free or like a nominal sell. I know loads of people.
Fuck. That's so sick. Or so do that in London. But also that like, so that I was reading that the building that it's based off of, and they filmed the exteriors off of, is a real building. And it's like a fucking nice building.
Yeah. How much is that apartment?
Probably like 5 mil.
20 mil for an apartment.
Manhattan. And then I did also see that she was very scared to do the scene where she Mia Farrow, who is amazing in this film.
Yeah.
This like also.
It really is iconic.
You're a big fan of her husband as well, actually.
Yeah.
She was scared to do the scene where like they couldn't shut down the road, so when she crosses the road and like in like a, and then she was like, Roman Polanski was like, I'm gonna be with you with the camera, because no one else, he couldn't make anyone else do it. And he was like, make the pregnancy padding look a lot, because no one's gonna hit her. That'd been a great scene if they did the Dustin Hoffman, like, hey, I'm walking here.
So was there anything in the movie you thought was like creepy and because it was Polanski? Or I don't know, because I haven't read the full book, so I don't know if he added it.
I haven't read the book. I did find it funny because like, it was like immediately when it came up, it was like directed by Roman Polanski, written director. I was like, there we go. And then when there's like a rape scene and stuff like that, and then it's all about like,
and it's just so horrific the way she wakes up full of scratch marks.
Yeah.
She's just like, what happened? He's like, my fingernails are pretty long.
My fingernails were pretty long when I was raping you in your sleep last night. But and then he goes,
Well, the first time I watched it, it was so chilling. I was just like, I have to see what happens next.
and then he goes like, oh, it was kind of sexy, like a necrophilia vibe. I was like, whoa, brother.
The lengths he goes to justify this bizarre story.
It is. I don't think. Yeah, I think with the gaslighting a woman, the rape sort of stuff, I was like, Polanski, buddy, like you're really running a love letter to yourself. And then also it's this like idea of actor he's like at the end of the film he's becoming incredibly famous. Paramount and Universal and Columbia are all calling because there's a deal he's made, and it is this sort of like, you know, QAnon theory of Hollywood, right?
Yes.
That they all have to do like weird dungeon sex parties towards the devil, and
or you have to be.
yeah, and if Roman Polanski was doing this in the 70s, and he was like also like at this point he was like one of the main figures of Hollywood. He was dating Sharon Tate. He was this was his first American film, but he was like this like pretty famous guy, like this cool auteur director living in Beverly Hills, and then everyone was like it would be crazy. Like obviously I don't think this, but it is like weird that a 70s director made a film about like getting famous by doing occult stuff. If I was like a QAnon guy and I watched this film, I'd be like, they've been telling us. I don't believe that, but
I love the details in it too, like this whole like Tanis route. Like you started burning something, what was it, sage or sandalwood? And I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, is that why you had that reaction?
I really freaked out. Where she's like, the smell of the Tanis. And Tanis is made up apparently.
Yeah, I was just burning, for this reference, I was burning a little sandalwood. Isabella came over, and I thought, oh, maybe the...
To be honest, I'm brutally honest, if the apartment smelled, I would have told you.
No, because sometimes, because I used to live with Nikita, and then she'd come back after like a day, and me and Felix like sitting in there, eating Dominoes and fermenting, and then she'd be like, it smells like boy in here.
If something smells like boy, I will tell.
Yeah, so I was just being a little conscious about it, so I was like, oh, we'll burn a little sandalwood. And Isabella's like, open a window!
I was literally watching. What are you trying to do?
Oh, I thought you generally didn't like the smell.
What are you trying to do?
Oh, look at that. That's why we do this. Sun's out. Sun's out. Oh, lovely. I feel like I have to ask some questions about you because that's part of the show. And you ready for this amazing segue? Roman.
He brilliantly likes the movie.
Yeah, Roman. This is a reach there. Roman, the guy who, not the director, the head witch, is very well travelled. Spent a lot of time in Australia.
Or isn't his wife's not equal to him?
No. He's head witch, son of the. It's a bit of a
dynastical.
Yeah, and then he travels to Australia. He travels all around. Yeah, he's been everywhere. And you performed comedy everywhere. Nail that.
Where did he say was his favorite place? He was like, Alaska.
Well, he was like, I want to spend. If I go back to Dubrovnik, I'm gonna stay there.
Dubrovnik. Where's Dubrovnik?
Dubrovnik, I think it's like Eastern Europe. But yeah, I don't actually have no clue. But you've done comedy everywhere. You've performed everywhere. This must be I guess it's a dead question. But like, which areas, which cities do you feel the most? You have the most fun performing comedy? You're an international comedian. As some people put that on their like thing a lot. Yeah. Like they did a gig in Paris and they're like, I'm an international comedian now on their Instagram. But then you've actually like done proper stints in like LA, New York, fringes everywhere. What is it? Because I was also this when I was doing the Hong Kong stuff. They were like, what's your favorite city to perform? And why is it Hong Kong?
If you've done enough shows anywhere, it'll be like mixed, right?
Yeah.
It'll all be amazing. So sometimes it's somewhere I've been like not that long and I'm just like, wow, it just happened to me every show. It was so good. Houston, I loved Houston.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Australia's always really fun.
Yeah, he's care for there. A true international comedian.
Berlin, I told you Berlin is a good...
Really?
Yeah, it has like, they're just really into comedy there.
But like English language? English language comedy?
Yeah.
Are the Germans comedians funny? Because like they're famously...
Yeah, I think they play on the fact that they're like not funny.
Yeah, I've seen clips of that, but does every German comedian do that? Do they all come on stage and like, oh, they say we don't have humor, but watch this.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many Americans there as well. It's such a mixed bag. And then I've never been to Amsterdam. Also, has a lot of English comedy. It's got a lot of improv apparently.
Ugh. You fan of improv?
I spent a year doing improv,
Oh, really?
and then I was like, no, I'm a stand-up.
Wait, what type of improv? Were like classes and stuff somewhere?
Yeah. Like
Where?
UCB.
UCB? How was that?
It's the most cerebral improv. They make you buy a book and they make you read the book.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you have to play these games, and they're almost like mental games. Like you have to keep like making the sketch bigger, but it has to be in the same style or whatever, and so you have to work out what is the game, and it's quite cerebral.
Okay.
And then there's other improv which is just more like big characters.
But it's quite I've heard that there's like, especially in America and UCB and like there's other ones, they're very like incestuous and like it becomes your life
You
pretty
read
much.
loads of stuff about that too.
Yeah.
I mean I know someone who married their improv teacher. They like started a class and then like I think 3 classes in hooked up and then ended up married to them.
It's all like the comedy becomes your world, which happens a bit in London, I would say. Not that I'm saying anything about London comedy. I love London comedy. Please keep looking. But sometimes like people come from outside of London to do comedy in London.
That's why I like stand up so much more, because you're an individual. I feel like
Yeah.
in that improv world it's more groupy.
Yeah, because like your whole group of friends becomes like all your friends are people who do improv with you and stuff like that. That's interesting. I didn't know you did that. A big improv background.
Like I did all the classes, and then the big thing is getting on a Herald team.
Okay.
They're like the teams, and you're meant to like I've done it for years, and you're meant to like audition a few times. So I do the classes. You have to get to a certain level before you can audition. And then I audition, I don't get it. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah, it's not gonna work on this.
I was like, I assumed I had it.
Yeah, it's also not like worth it. I mean, that's the same thing with like pupilages, right? Where like people apply year after year because it's very competitive. You wouldn't know about that. Got on your first time, yeah. They oh yeah, that's another one. Law and comedy, because I'm not even like a real lawyer, but I study law, and so everyone's like, oh, law and comedy.
How do you relate the two?
Yeah, how do you relate the two? I bet it's the same though because of public speaking. There are quite a few.
I mean,
there are quite a few comedians with a law background.
Yeah, I met some funny lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything there?
No, not really.
I do think like it depends if you're like a solicitor, then like it just adds a little bit more fun to your day.
True.
Bachelor maybe, good at speaking, stuff like that. I think it is just fun and day because
you love the sound of your own voice, Barris.
And also it is a profession that apparently draws in narcissists.
Yeah.
And so is comedy. Yeah. So bang bang, we're in both.
Mental health improves. Shop.
You get right back to the law stuff. That's pretty good. That was a pretty good segue from Rosemary. It's hard. I was like thinking when I was watching the film, like, how do I end this? Get this into questions about Isabella's life. I do find it funny that you would raise the baby.
I don't know how long you'd raise it for. I feel like just the infant stage, maybe till it's like 4 or 5.
And then what?
And you're like, now it really scares me. Time to let it out.
The cloven hooves and stuff like that. I was picturing hooves.
I know, because you said it.
Hooves and claws. Yeah. The devil shows up.
It's like when there's people who, it's terrible. They get a baby orangutan and they're like, this will be my baby forever. And then it gets to 5 and they have.
Wait, what is this?
Give it away because it like attacks one of them.
What are you talking about?
Like when people like get the chimpanzees or whatever. There's so many like.
Is that the thing that happens?
In America. Yeah.
Really?
Because they're so cute when they're babies, but as soon as they reach like maturity, adulthood, especially I think the females as well as the males, they'll like literally just. The smallest thing will make them attack you.
Yeah, they're like huge as well. They're strong.
Yeah, they're not even that. They're not huge. They are big.
Yeah.
But it's just they have the strength of like 30 people.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to fight one off or anything. Or like.
I imagine it would be similar.
You just raise the chimpanzee.
Well, it'd be so cute, like the first.
I love how you drop that as if like people get baby orangutans.
Like I'm not saying they should.
That can't be legal either.
They're all not good things. I think it was legal for a while, and they still started to make it more and more illegal because it's like.
It definitely should be. Chimpanzees are incredibly dangerous animals.
There's so many Netflix shows about it now. Like
really,
someone who had a chimpanzee and the government was trying to take it, and she had it in hiding in her basement.
Oh, and then it ended up attacking her, right? Or attacking her friend.
No, they eventually got it out. There's so many stories.
I've heard that they attacked the friend, like molded to bits.
So anyway, so I'm not saying it's not a ticking time bomb. I'm not saying it's going to be like the epitome of motherhood the way she is. I'm just saying in the moment, she is the mother.
Does Mia Farrow's character stay with her husband, do you think?
How could she?
And he's also, you have to think about the time as well, though.
Yeah, the time, the money,
yeah.
the success.
Now that he's famous.
I just don't know. I mean, she spits in his face.
Yeah.
And she knows he's such a weak man.
Which would have turned him on.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It depends how codependent she is. I'm pretty codependent, so I'm not sure.
But no, but you also live in like a completely different world, you know?
Yeah.
Like if she
can't be like a single mum to the devil. But to be honest, if she divorced him, they'd probably find another like suitable devil worshipper for her.
Oh yeah, you think they take care of her, the
Yeah,
old
like
the old witches?
yeah.
So she's like fully has to buy into it all now. And also
They said to her, you don't have to become a worshiper.
yeah, but if she's now like financially relying on them and stuff like that. But
There's a big thing in the movie is she doesn't have her own money. She doesn't even have her own money to see a doctor.
yeah.
She just like tell her, because I'm like, why is she asking her husband whether she can see it?
Yeah, they don't have credit cards or anything like that.
And it's because she literally has to like squirrel away money and she doesn't have any money.
I was thinking about I watched Pretty Woman recently. Richard Gere keeps giving is Richard Gere? Yeah. Keeps giving her loads of cash, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Like, why does it have so much cash on it?
Yeah.
And I was watching with my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was like, there was no cards. And I was like, oh, fuck.
It's like a big deal and they had to use this big...
It's like a crazy thing to do, just walk around with so much cash. I don't think I've had like more...
I have older friends who, have more...
Still carry cash a lot?
Yeah.
Works well on the Oxford Road, I'll tell you that.
I mean, also COVID so much wiped out cash.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone contactless. Yeah, she doesn't have any money. This is I had a question here. She has to go back to... do you think you could raise... So you've had the devil's baby.
Yeah.
Let's skip over how you had it and why. Do you think you could raise it if you stick around to raise it?
Yeah.
Do you think you could raise a good like Marvel one, which is like a hero, or
No, as I said, it's like the chimpanzee. It's gonna like reach over 5 and be so bad.
Oh, you think it's just gonna? You can't like you're no nurture over nature.
No.
Really? That's what I was thinking. So I was thinking like I'd either kill the baby, or like maybe I can raise it to use its powers for good.
That's impossible.
Why?
The devil.
You think? Oh,
No. It's sweet in the moment that she has it.
yeah.
Bond with it, but it's not going to be good down the line. This isn't like it's going to go to Harvard. Maybe it will, but
Yeah, it'll be the Kissinger School for... Wait, is it the Kissinger School? No, the Kennedy School for Politics.
we'll get Harvard.
I remember I was
She's
walking...
going to get more and more evil, and she's going to notice and be a bit disillusioned.
I was walking around Harvard and then I saw like their signs, like, you know, all universities have like little promos for each school, and it's like a kid in the Kennedy School who's like, I want to be the first gay Secretary of Defense. And I'm like, well... Queer voices in bombing Palestine. There's like a full poster for it. You support him?
No. I'm neutral.
I'd be like, nah, bro.
I don't think it's just like totally mad. It was your job.
No, especially if it's like a nightmare job. And would you have been more sympathetic to like the coven if they were bisexual? That's that is a thing that was kind of lacking in this
I
film.
think I was already sympathetic to the cover.
Yeah, I don't really get why. This just for clarity, these are
Because they seem
witches
nice.
who kill people, put her best friend in a coma.
Yeah.
That's very you as well. Like her best friend is like a weird old guy. And then they blind an actor.
No, that's just in a book.
They blinded the actor.
I thought they did something else to him.
No, the actor who
Who has we got the role from?
yeah,
I didn't realize he was blind.
yeah, he's blinded.
horrible.
That's why he can't take the roles anymore.
Yeah, I guess that you don't really see it, so you don't feel it as much.
I think you're.
Purposely, you just hear about it. You don't see.
I think you have rose-tinted glasses for the elderly.
Also, I was like, they're just trying to fulfill this mission. They obviously like will do anything.
Are you admiring their ambition? Definitely do. Like one guy goes Heil Satan at the end.
Yeah, people get in the way. It's horrible. but they don't focus on it in the movie.
No,
You literally just hear about it.
because it's more of a character study for her.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is like they wanted Roman Polanski said he wanted a fuller woman to play the role at first. And then went to a few actresses like Jane Fonda and stuff like that. And
Fonda, oh my God.
and then
It's basically like I need big boobs. Jane Fonda isn't full of
potentially, yeah. And then when, maybe his girlfriend, his fiance, whatever.
You see her boobs a few times. They're not bad.
No. You know.
They're shapely. Like, she's like naked and like.
Yeah, she's naked a lot. So actually, that's quite interesting. So Frank Sinatra and her just got married or engaged, and she got this role, and she wasn't that big before this, and
Just blew her up.
this blew her up,
Yeah.
and then she went for it. But the understanding that Frank had was that like she put her career on hold a little bit once they got together, and he and then when he realized what the film had like all these nude scenes and things like that, you know, Frank's probably getting his chops busted by the mob guys and stuff.
Because it's the olden days.
Yeah, and then it's the olden days. Although that still happens now, but then he served divorce papers to her on set.
Harsh.
Yeah. And then she was gonna leave. She asked for like a leave of absence to go and try to reconcile.
Oh, wow.
And Polanski showed her the first hour of the film, and she's like, "Actually, that's fine."
That shit's so good.
Yeah, it's looking pretty tight right now.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, but old Frankie boy was like not happy about it. I don't think. Yeah. But also Ronan Farrow's dad potentially. I thought that was quite interesting, and that still happens today.
Yeah.
Every time I see like films and challenges came out, the amount of like tweets and stuff of people being like, "How does Tom Holland allow this?" and like showing the scene, it's like they're actors. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's still something that's prevalent today, but I do like the idea that he took it to his wife, Roman Polanski, Sharon Tate, or fiance, and she was like, "Nah."
She didn't want to do it.
I mean, these are the first ideas. And Mia Farrow wasn't very famous, but they went with her, and then.
I just think she's so dreamy in it, and I think she looks so cute with the little pixie cut.
Yeah.
I think she looks like a little boy, but she's super pregnant. So iconic.
Yeah, pixie cuts are always a good look. see what I would have done if that fucking.
Okay, so you basically encourage you to get one, and they're so ugly, and you're like, it looks great.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh no, it doesn't.
It's always. I think with most things, it only looks as good as how you like confident you feel in it.
Yeah, how you style it.
Yeah. No, like how you feel about it. If you walk around like, "Oh, my hair looks terrible," and you're gonna be like,
Yeah, it's horrible.
my husband says I'm ugly and sold my vagina for to the devil.
No, she gets that cut after, I think.
Yeah, she does. So I get really into like smaller characters and how they like perform their role.
Small character was good at this.
So I thought the crackhead woman at the beginning, we should keep calling her that because
She had a name.
she got clean as well.
Tara, wasn't I?
Yeah, it was. It's Terry.
Terry.
Good job. She's like, does the line where she's like, explaining her relationship with him. He goes, I would have been, if it weren't for them, I would have been dead or in jail. It's just like super positive. It's like, what are you doing? Those line reads are very weird. I did think Susie is the wife from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That's her name. Susie was fantastic. The old people were like very. No. Like that's what I was calling.
And the old lady.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's great in it.
She literally like barges into her house all the time for no reason.
And if it wasn't for the sinister tone of the film, it is very sweet.
I love the juxtaposition between the evil and the familiarity.
It's just the music and the and stuff that's throwing you off. Because if like in any other scenario,
That's what makes it good for me, actually. It's like if they had like really sinister neighbors who were like, you.
Yeah.
That'd be so weird.
they're coming in and they're like, "How are you doing, darling? I brought you cake. I brought you this."
You're an amazing actor.
If that was happening to me, I would be like, "Wow, I have the fucking coolest neighbors in the world." And I knee jerk wouldn't be like, "She's poisoning me to steal my baby." But it is like really well done in that way, which I do appreciate. There's the sort of horror balance to it all, but then all the small performances. Fantastic stuff. I'm trying to think what else is popping out to me on that film. Polanski. Let's bring it back. No, he is a fantastic director. But
Yeah, and the cinematography amazing. And you also notice in the movie like how horribly manipulative the husband is when she doesn't want to eat the chocolate mousse that tastes like chalk.
yeah, there is
He's like, oh, we're not gonna eat it.
there is there is a lot of like the husband's moves.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays, I think maybe for the 70s, there'd be a lot of men would have watched that and been like, "Fuck, I've probably done the same thing."
No, I mean, I see stuff like that in relationships all the time.
Really?
Yeah. But it's not as obvious because it's not clear. You know what his motive is.
Maybe because I'm such a good guy.
I know. It's also about being in a relationship for a long time.
Yeah. Well, how long do you think they were together? At first, I didn't even realize they were married.
Yeah, no, of course they.
Maybe she's shacking up with some guy.
Yeah,
But they
kids.
yeah. But they've been together for a while. I didn't think and then like there is like a little like not a little a huge dig at actors throughout this film because like she's like, oh, like he's self-centered and all this sort of stuff, but that's just him being an actor, which isn't wrong per se. But then he does like he's even before the whole
and he
Coven stuff.
In the movie, he's sort of using the baby thing, like, not against her, but he knows she wants it, and then he's finally like, okay, we can do it. But he's sort of holding it over her head.
Yeah, and there's the line at the end, like, they told me you wouldn't be hurt, which you weren't.
You were fine.
You were fine. We just gaslit you for almost a year and told you your baby had died. But instead it was the devil. Oh, also, I pimped you out to the devil.
But you're a strong lady.
And I didn't find any...
We can have more. They said you can have more kids.
It's fine. We're going to be living in Beverly Hills, you dumb bitch. Oh, I did love the scene with...
Like, you don't work. It's 1 year of work.
And we're set for life. We got Columbia Pictures on the collide. But I did love the scene. So actually, I saw this the other day. It was like an article that came out about Gia Coppola, and it was like before Gia Coppola, like she'll always be that it girl. Before Gia Coppola, there weren't like female-led stories in film, and that's like Gia Coppola's like the 2000s and 90s maybe. Yeah. I don't think that's like this is a female-led story.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. And then my favorite scene, because I'm an ally, is the scene where she actually just starts crying with her friends.
Oh yeah, you said.
And then they like
Comfort her.
they keep him out.
Yeah, they literally shut him out the room.
Yeah.
And they're like, this isn't normal. This is what you need to do.
And that gives her the confidence a little bit to like keep going. And then the first person she calls when she's like being
Is a friend.
Yeah, as a friend, and the friend tries to call back, but then they can't. So I did think Roman Polanski, for all his flaws, does show this good amount of like sisterhood and like how they had her like her actual friends who are only in it for like 2 scenes, but they actually had her like best interest at heart.
For sure.
Whereas her husband and the old people did not.
Yeah.
Is Roman Polanski a feminist? That's what I'm asking.
I mean, a complex character. I don't know that much about him. Very complex character. But I mean, I suppose this kind of movie is the reason he was like protected. Yeah,
no, all of films are very successful.
Yeah, but I mean this movie and like a couple more of the really iconic ones. You know, Chinatown and this movie, maybe a couple others, just meant like he would have friends in
high places. And he pled guilty to certain charges, and pretty bad ones. And then they were like, you're not going to get a favorable thing from the judge, I think, or whatever they agreed upon before, and that's when he absconded. Yeah. But Joe Mandy has a great bit where he goes, who should direct my Netflix special, stuff like that, and he's like, oh, I'm just going to say Roman Polanski. And then they're like, you can't do that. He's like, what's he going to do, sue me? Because then he has to come back to America. And then I'm a hero. And it comes up at the end of the special, like directed by Roman Polanski. So I think he's in the clear. And that's on Netflix. Yeah. Oh, wow. It's a Netflix special, Joe Mandy, one of my favorite specials. And at the end of the film, it just goes, and the special goes directed by Roman Polanski. And he seems to have gone away with it pretty well. But yeah, he's still making films. He's made and like people are very happy to work with him. So there's like
in Europe.
Yeah, famously his Hollywood letter that was like signed by all the biggest stars.
He even got the girl because she's quite old now. She's like because he's 90.
Yeah.
So she's like in her 50s, maybe.
I don't know, she was 13 at the time.
Yeah, but he got the woman to say, "Oh, it's fine now."
Yeah.
Because he thought that would mean that
Probably a lot of money.
like money must have changed hands. But
Yeah.
he thought that that the US would just back down and they
No, they kept it. But it's interesting that no one's extradited him.
didn't.
Like France or anyone, no one's extradited him, even though he has pled guilty to charges. But that's neither here nor there. Separate the art from the artist. That's an interesting one that because the people, most of the people I hang out with don't agree with that.
Watching a movie by Roman Polanski.
Or just like separate art from artist or anything. I think I have like a bigger tolerance for musicians.
I feel like, it's my youngie that I just love Carl Jung. I love Carl Jung.
Yeah.
And his idea of the collecting of conscious.
Yeah.
And it's like if you destroy that art or cancel that art and we can't see it anymore, like it doesn't belong to the artist. It belongs to us now.
That's a good way of looking at it.
It's to civilization.
Yeah. And then it was like, I was doing a class at university, it was a philosophy class, and reading Martin Heidegger. And then we had to write like a paper on Heidegger that was not related to the book. He's like, this one of the most seminal philosophers of all time. And then one girl wrote hers on just the fact that he was a Nazi, which is not great. Probably shouldn't have been a Nazi, but it doesn't seep through his work in any way, you know. And he just writes about very, very deep existential stuff. It's not really like politics. Maybe it's some of his other writing. I've only read one of his books, Being in Time. But and then the professor and her got into this huge argument, I remember, because he was like, this isn't important to what we're learning. And she was like, yes, it is. It affects his writing. It affects everything that he's like speaking about. I just sat quietly.
I knew about a woman who, I was in some like film group where we would analyze his film, and I chose The Crucible, and I love The Crucible.
Yeah.
And apparently, like the original story of The Crucible was based on real cases, and in the real case, like the girl was like really young, but to be honest, you didn't really know there was necessarily an affair in the real case. It was kind of, she'd suppose that supposition. But she was like, yeah, just saying it was bad because of that, because of what it was like originally based on. And they're like, it's a brilliant movie, though.
Yeah. I thought you were about to say brilliant play.
Based on a play.
No, the play's overrated. I watched the movie. That's your Glengarry Glen Ross.
Very similar to the play.
Yeah, Glengarry Glen Ross, one of my favorite films. Never seen the play. Don't plan on it. I mean, it's on in New York right now.
I don't know. Maybe there'll be someone where I'll be like, no, what they did was so bad. Their art needs to be destroyed. But I don't think so.
P. Diddy.
He has like a good song, though.
I don't think he has very many good songs.
What are his songs?
He's like produced a lot of good songs. Or like just shows up. Like, so all the Biggie songs pretty much. He's not even a producer on that, but he's like, he didn't make the beats or anything, but he's like, I don't know, he was just like in charge of the studio, so he shows up to say like ad-libs and stuff. So all of Biggie's soundtracks and stuff like that. Yeah, the thing is, I remember when Michael Jackson's documentary came out.
Oh, God.
And I would go to my university, my undergraduate, we had a bar, and then I'd play Michael on the jukebox, not even like to be inflammatory. It's like all the songs are super old. I was like, Michael's the only one I do. And then I put it on, I sit down, and everyone's like, who played this? Who put this on? It's like, oh my God, disgusting. And I was like, oh, fucking yeah. Damn, this is terrible. But people get very upset about it. I don't know. There's a line, I think there's some things like, so Woody Allen, I've never gone into his films, and I think it's because like Woody Allen stuff is like, yeah, because it was a public record for a long time, and then like big part.
I naturally don't love Woody Allen films.
Yeah, they're not like John. There's a great John Mulaney jokes. Can we separate the art from the artist? Like, what about Woody Allen and his last 7 unwatchable movies? Can we still not watch them? My mom always found Woody Allen to be a creep.
Okay.
And even like back in the day, like, well, when I was a kid, and I used to go to the cinema with my mom a lot. Yeah. And then so you can blame her for all this, but then I'd be like, oh, there's a new rom-com, and she'd be like, no, I don't want to see it. It's Woody Allen. And at the time, I didn't really know much about it. I thought he just sucked, but my mom just thought he was great. So that's kind of seeped into me, where I don't like have a big thing with Woody Allen.
There's Blue Jasmine I liked, just because it's a rip-off of Streetcar Named Desire, and it's so good. But mostly I find these films like very self-indulgent, that they're just like, just going through neurosis. Like, I don't know.
Well, I'm such a weird guy, but somehow
But why
everyone
do I
loves
need,
it.
why do I need marijuana to calm? Like what? And it's like the women always have these weird problems, and I'm like, I don't feel like.
It is wild that Mia Farrow went from Frank Sinatra to
Yeah,
Woody
that's
Allen,
wild as well.
and then Rhoda Farrow, probably Frank Sinatra's kid, looks just like walks around with like a supreme confidence all the time. He looks like a 40s wheeler and dealer.
True.
But I'm not a Woody Allen. Never got for me. I'm trying to think of someone cancelled that I do enjoy still. I'm trying to think of anyone.
Bill Cosby.
I never watched this comedy in the first
I
place.
never even heard
I knew the Cosby. I knew the Jello pudding.
I literally had to like look him up and be like, oh, that's cool.
My writing partner has a great Cosby impression, and he's always been able to do it. And then Cosby got in trouble, and people talk about him a lot. They'll be sitting around at like a dinner or something, and they'll be like, "Oh, Bill Cosby, terrible," and they'd be like, "Jello pudding," like just really accurately.
I didn't even know what that reference was. Like, I'm like, okay.
And I was like, "Why do you have a Cosby impression?" He's like, "Ah." I'm trying to think. R. Kelly. That's 2 songs I still listen to.
Yeah, I believe I can. I mean, I don't sit there and listen to it, but I think it is.
Yeah, if it comes on, I'm like, let's go. No, I was thinking remix to Ignition. That's the one. That's the one for me.
But I mean, pretty much every great artist. I mean, that's the whole point of Hannah Gatsby. She basically says like every great artist should be cancelled. Like,
Yeah.
maybe she's not talking about like painters, but
Oh yeah, all those guys. Yeah, but it's also like time and stuff like that. Like even in this film where we talked about it, the marital rape stuff. But that's also just like us in our culture. Like marital rape is still like legal in like loads of countries.
yeah, no, it's terrible.
India just passed a law saying like, yeah, we're fine with it once you're married. Oh yeah, you're a woman of color.
Yeah, it's. I mean, even I guess I remember when we learned about it in law school at Oxford. I remember this one guy being because the way that they I think they retroactively like prosecuted some guys. Like they
really?
law in the UK, and then they retroactively were like, we can still prosecute you. And the guy was like, no, it wasn't a law then. And they were like, too bad, we're gonna prosecute you. I remember there was one guy law student was like, it's not fair. And everyone in the room was like, ooh, what the fuck?
Even if you believe that, keep it to yourself.
I believe in the rule of law. Like, on this point, like what?
Whoa.
I don't know.
There are different things. I mean, I don't know.
So, I mean, I don't really know what it was like in the 60s. I don't know if you would have still said that and people would still be like, you know, you still persona non grata. Probably.
Well, I guess I had a different view of it, but then in this film, Mia Farrow is like, that's fucked up. Didn't love that.
I remember watching it. Yeah, the first time it hit me so strong in this film. The first time I watched it, and I just remember it was just like being stabbed. That it was just like.
Oh really? Which I guess it was necrophilia, maybe. I did think John Cassavetes was great in it as well.
Is that the husband?
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought he was fantastic in it. He played the like feeble man quite a lot.
Yeah.
He was just like so concerned with his career. When she's just had in her mind just had like a stillbirth, and then and is going through a psychotic break, and he's like, gotta be famous.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm doing so well.
Maybe he's like eating toast.
And like randomly, I've hired some more neighbours to look after you.
You know those people who cause the psychotic break for you?
They'll now be bringing you a tray.
And he's ripping toast, be like, that was the worst thing of your life, wasn't it?
That was one of the weirdest scenes because I was like, did he actually eat that piece of toast? I couldn't really tell.
He takes like a
tiny
bit off, which is this sort of thing of like, I want to eat it, but it's yours. But like,
and also I'm an actor and I want to be eating.
But it's a thing in plays. Tarantino uses it a lot. To take food from someone else is to show power or dominance over them. So in all Tarantino films, anyone who takes food from someone else survives the film. Because they're the sort of person
I need to watch Tarantino.
Yeah, you have to be a certain sort of person to survive a Tarantino film. You have to be like selfish and like
aggressively grab food off his
We're not in a film.
I know, but he doesn't even ask. I'm gonna do it.
No, he just starts thinking. So like the people who share food,
they're gonna die.
They die a lot. So like Christoph Waltz shares beers with Jamie Foxx, and he dies. And then anyone who like takes food from other people. Anyone who's like more aggressive, yeah, because like Tarantino's a hyper-violent universe, you know, they're all in the same universe, so it's all like hyper-violent. So yeah, taking the food from her when she's on bed rest and like eating it is like demonstrating the power that he has over her, which I thought was a nice touch. Also, he looked like such a dick.
So
And
she's like so starving. He's like, babe, just eat this.
It's a good question. Where do you think you would have started to figure things out? Because I was watching it, I was thinking, like, obviously, because we watched.
I think she had really good intuition.
When the
like, okay, so she has, okay, well, she doesn't have any support system. She has no parents.
yeah,
I mean, in the book, it sort of says her parents live in Nebraska, and
yeah, she says she's a country girl.
yeah, and then she's very isolated from her family.
Yeah,
and this was back in the day, and in the book, it sort of says that they were like, they wouldn't really speak to her because she left, and she has like one brother who was like, good luck or something. So they make that point more in the book, but yeah, she's totally isolated from any sort of support system apart from friends, but she doesn't actually have anyone like a mother who checks in on her. She just has this husband. It's horrible.
They
and his friend called his old man friend who became like a father figure when she moved to New York. Who
the Cuskin.
Yeah, and he does point out you looking like terrible. What's his name? Hutch.
Hutch.
Yeah. He does point out to her like you're not looking so good, but then he's pretty much easily swayed by.
No, he starts doing a little digging.
Yeah,
Hutch is a good. Hutch is this sort of old person relationship that you want to have.
Yeah.
Where he's just got not much going on.
Yeah.
And he's looking out for you.
Yeah.
And then he didn't want them to move, and he'd make lamb. Oh, at one point they make steaks in the oven.
I can't remember that. She should have just been like, Hutch, can I stay with you? But then I guess he died. So.
Yeah, but when they first go over to dinner at the Roman's house, she's like, we got some great sirloin. No, okay. And then the oven dings, and she's like, oh, good, it's ready. And I was like, God. And then also the food in this film looks atrocious all the way through. Like even when they have like, it just screams like very,
You didn't want to eat it.
yeah, like 70s America, you know, especially when like, there's, what films do that really well? Revolutionary Road, like films that take place in that sort of period, Don't Worry Darling and stuff like that, where like American cuisine was like a very much like, how to use the microwave as much as you can, Jello and things like that. It was just not ideal.
Even the way it's like presented is like
yeah, there's nothing look good except for Hutch's food. And Hutch dies because he's sharing. No, they all share food in the film. It's pretty good.
So yeah, no, if I was her with no support system, just relying on this crazy husband, no money, she desperately wants a child.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do. Like, I don't know when I would figure it out. Because partly it doesn't really benefit her to figure it out. Because what's she going to do?
Yeah, it's also like insanity.
Yeah.
But I think with the doctor,
Yeah.
when the doctor's like, the first meeting with the Coven doctor, and he goes, listen, no need for vitamins. That stuff's for pussies.
I know.
And if you read any books, you're a dumb bitch.
I have a doctor in London that said that.
Oh, really?
She's like, no, don't bother with vitamins.
What's the alternative? Or
She's like, just get them from your food. They're just not real.
Oh, well, I actually kind of.
The Adventist Hospital. Like, I've heard doctors say that.
I kind of think that actually. To be fair, I kind of think that about like life. But I think when you're pregnant, you're supposed to take stuff.
I know, but this doctor's just like, no. She's like, you can. This doctor said actually, a lot of women in Hong Kong they'll take too many vitamins, and we could have too much of this vitamin.
Yeah. Hong Kong doctors, to be fair, are built different. So I broke my ankle here when I was like 15, and then I went back to Hong Kong. Yeah, it was a pretty bad break, and then I was back in Hong Kong, and obviously it was like 3 months later. They take another X-ray, and they're like, "It's basically healed." Why? So the hospital here gave me a boot to walk. So cost was off. At this point, I was on the boot. I was walking around the boot, and then he's like, "It's basically healed. Why are you walking around with this?" And I was like, "Well, it's supposed to help my recovery." He's like, "Nah, just go out." And I was like, "Where can I play sports again?" And he was like, "You can play right now."
Let's play now.
So I actually was like, "Fuck it," and I went out to mid-levels Garden Road basketball court, and I tried to like one calf was so much smaller than the other, and then like just you could visibly see it was smaller, and then I tried to jump, and I was like, nope, like, absolutely nothing happening there. They are like very like old Hong Kong, old Chinese
Say,
doctors.
I've heard that being said to me, so that's not crazy for a doctor to say that.
Yeah,
Like I've literally heard them say that. They're like, this, stop it with the vitamins.
I do kind of believe that. Some people always like to be like, "Are you taking a multivitamin and stuff like that?" I'm like, "No, mate, I'm out. I'm just outside." Do you take vitamin D? It's like, or just get out. Do a podcast in the sun. We've actually nailed it. The sun's.
I actually do take vitamins, but that's why the doctor's like, stop. So yeah, no, I don't find it weird that doctor.
What about book reading? They're like, don't read any
The
books.
equivalent of that now is they'd be like, stay off the internet because you'll just make yourself paranoid. And
True.
doctors say that all the time. I
That
swear,
is true.
Like, that's like the classic.
That is true. Especially they would say that.
Stop thinking you're imagining you're the doctor. Stop reading WebMD. And you're like, okay.
Just take this vaccine.
It's very believable to me.
That's actually such a good point. I didn't even think about that. But the doctors would say stay off the internet, especially to like an anxious pregnant woman.
Yeah,
They'd be like,
don't read
fuck.
the forums. Don't look at.
okay, if you were like rail skinny, dying pretty much in pain for like 3 months straight, would that not be when you clock on, or
Literally.
Or you just think
I've
that's
been at
pregnancy?
the hospital. I've been at the hospital in Hong Kong. I just happened to be in Hong Kong because I grew up in Hong Kong. I spent a lot of time in Hong Kong. But
they're also hard there?
I had so the reality was I had some kind of cyst on my ovary that was causing it to twist.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that, and it didn't come up on the MRI. So I did an MRI and they didn't see anything. And the doctor was like, "It's just gas. It's just gas." It's like, I don't need to fart. Siri, it's just gas. So like literally,
I do see it actually.
that
Yeah.
has happened to me.
That is true. Okay, so if it's not okay, you're feeling sick. What's the next point that she clocks on?
Like when you see a doctor who completely poo-poos you being sick, part of you gives up, and then like part of you might be like a few months later, like, okay, I'm going to try another doctor, or I'm going to try this, or I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you immediately try. This part of you's like, oh, I did it. Like,
Well, okay, so say you've not clocked on.
you might be tomorrow.
You, Isabella, have not clocked on.
Yeah.
You have no suspicions, you're saying, which you've explained very well, so I'm on your team. You have no suspicions at this point. You're feeling sick, you're feeling bad. This pain does go away, weirdly, one day.
Yeah.
Now, I come to you, and I'm like, hey, by the way, those people who live next to you,
Yeah.
this guy's that guy's son, and look at the anagram. Would the anagram make you?
Can you imagine my actual neighbor? And I'd be like, okay.
So that would like, yeah, obviously if you have no suspicions at that point,
Yeah, I'd be
then
like,
you'd be like, all right.
well, I mean, it's kind of weird to live in like a semi-haunted building to begin with.
Yeah.
That's the weird bit. But once you've like got on board with that, no, I'm not checking the anagram for my neighbor.
Yeah, you would never have clocked on. You would have
I'm just saying that's my whole point. This whole thing would have worked way.
yeah, Isabella would be like, guess that's that. let's move to Beverly Hills. Try again.
We'll raise this devil baby for like.
No, you wouldn't even find the devil baby.
No, I wouldn't have even found it. No, I don't know. If I heard it crying through the walls, maybe I would have like looked, but I wouldn't have brought a knife.
No, because they came in and it was like, he was like,
Yeah, they said it dead. They was dead. But if I heard,
no, not that. They were like, I heard crying,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, the neighbor. Some people moved in. They have a baby.
well, I want to see the baby.
Okay.
I'd be quite curious about that.
So you think you would have clocked on right at the end?
Right
Then
at the
come
end,
in.
I would be like, I really want to see the baby, and it might just be like, I just want to see a baby because I've just had this awful experience, and it'd be uplifting to see a baby. So I think I would find the baby, and then I'd be like, what the heck?
You know where I would have fallen apart? I don't do well with, like, I have neighbors over there, super lovely. I don't know the people in there right now.
Oh, you don't like house friendly though?
I would have been suspicious of that. I don't want to be your friend, you know?
Feeding me, I'm fine.
But if there are like these old people who are coming over every day and like trying to spend time with me, I'm like, what is their motive here?
Yeah,
And I would have shut that down pretty easily.
yeah. It just depends on my vibe with them, I guess.
And
There's been times where I've definitely not had good boundaries with people.
yeah, I guess, but I would have shut that down recently. And now I'm thinking, actually, how would I have done as the husband? If I was the husband.
You've done that to your wife?
No, I never do that. Yeah.
You could be famous.
It's not worth it. I would not doing deals with the devil out here. And then what was that pitch like? What was Roman's pitch to the husband like?
Listen.
You want to be you're a good actor.
Make it happen.
Yeah, we can make it happen. I've got loads of connections. One of them being I know at the time I know Spielberg. I know who else was big in the 70s? I know John Walters. And I know this guy, you don't know his work. His name's The Devil. And he knows people. If you this is a crazy pitch actually. I want that scene.
Oh yeah.
If you
I love though that you don't have that scene.
Yeah, because it would have been ridiculous.
You just believe he's like, yeah, I'll do it.
It would have been ridiculous if he's like, hey, you know what? I could make you fucking successful if you let the devil have sex with your wife.
Whole movie just from the husband's perspective.
Trying to keep her down on log. And then you're going to see his meetings.
And he's like, she keeps asking me these questions. And I'm just like, what do I say? And they're like, don't worry. Roman and what's in the face are going to go on holiday and don't worry.
And then you're going to see like the other side of it where like he's going to work and everyone's like, brother, you're killing it right now. His agents.
He's like, can't believe how good you are. Like, you weren't this good last year. Like,
The phone's been ringing nonstop.
what is that different?
Everyone wants a little bit more of John. And then he comes home and his wife's like, I'm a fever.
I'm really sick still. And he's like, okay.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Just keep taking the pills.
I guess it would have been your thing you said right at the beginning may have been better if she knew.
If she knew, I don't know about her personality though.
Yeah, but it's better than thinking you're crazy the whole time.
It was very well, the problem is, you don't know whether the girl Terry, maybe she was pregnant, maybe she jumped out the window because she found out she was pregnant.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know. But Mia, she definitely didn't want an abortion. She made that very clear.
Yeah, so once you knew that was going on,
it's
just like you're not crazy, okay?
Yeah.
Because I think the idea that you're like crazy is what makes it worse.
Yeah. I don't know. You might get really depressed.
Which isn't good for the baby.
Yeah, you might get really... Because she has something to live for the whole movie. She has the baby to live for. And I don't know if she would live for the baby if she...
Oh, true. Yeah, she keeps like being like, this is for you, Joni or Andy. Yeah. That is true. It's maternal. But then still, it was like... Also, weird they chose... What did they call the baby? Adrian?
Adrian.
Usually it's Damien, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that choice was.
Damn.
But yeah, maybe she would have been like, oh, Adrian, I'm going to take us away from here or stuff like that. Like, it's hard to hate the baby growing inside of you, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. But, yeah, I think I would have done a better job than the husband if I was doing the gaslighting.
Really?
Yeah. Because some of them were predictable,
Yeah.
Like when she's like, I want to see another doctor. You could have been like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
But then figure it out then rather than like...
Yeah. The doctor died.
Yeah, that doctor's gone, but this is other doctor who's cleared.
Yeah.
Let's go see him, Or
he tries to do that in silly ways, like let's go to the
he's
his
he's not doing it. I don't.
Do that secretly.
I just realized this is a really weird brag for me. Like I would have gaslit my wife way better.
I didn't think I would have. That's just
He's not even focused on it. That's the problem with me.
Yeah.
He's more focused on his career. every problem he comes in, he's like, oh, I gotta deal with this now.
I think it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and I guess it is in the end. In your thing, your happy ending.
Yeah.
Your happy ending. She gets her baby. It's the devil's baby, and you're not gonna kill. Yeah. All right. This is the question I want to do. We're gonna do a joint rating of the film out of 4 thumbs up. 2 of yours, 2 of mine.
Yeah, 2.
Oh, no, do it on 3 together. for a sense of thing. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1.5 for me. 2 for Isabella. That's a great 3.5.
Yeah, wow! I can't believe you admit to liking Roman Polanski.
No, I actually I like Ghostwriter. Yeah. I love Chinatown.
I haven't seen any of these. Maybe I should watch some of those.
I think yeah, I agree with you. Like, it is. I think it's very funny. Not funny, but I do think it's funny that like, making jokes about him and stuff like that. But like the movies live separately because like, especially when you do like work in film and stuff like that a little bit, you start to see like it's not just him.
He must be interested in witches because Macbeth had some really creepy witches.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But the amount of people who worked on that film, from Mia Farrow to the other actors to the Larry David Susie's wife, then behind that, sound editors, composers, all this sort of stuff, it all comes together. So I'm not. I think it's been unfair, especially in film, to negate all their work because their boss was a bad guy. You know, it's like shutting down a company essentially, and they are like when you make a film, it's like a limited company that gets put up, right? So you're shutting down a company because the CEO is a bit of a dick.
I guess an argument would be that you didn't want him to profit off it still.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the profit works.
I think he's doing fine without regardless of our £3.50 our £3.50 purchase on Amazon.
Find it for free online.
Yeah, I know, but I can't do that on TV. That's annoying. And then he's a millionaire, so this out front, and he's fine.
Yeah. So I mean, I could understand the motive of not wanting to.
And also not him profiting. Like, you know, there's a lot of people who get residuals off that still.
Yeah.
So, you know, like actors or things like that, like who play the smaller roles, they will still get, especially back then. Those contracts are pretty good. They get residuals off it. So I'm like, you like to think that your money went to them rather than Roman.
I think that's really naive. You could just say anything.
See, I'd have had Mia Farrow on lock. She'd have been happy the whole way through. Well, we're coming on our time. Yeah. Isabella, thank you so much for being the second guest on this very loosely organized podcast. Anything you want to plug?
No.
Fantastic.
Okay, well, Instagram. Isabella is comedy.
Isabella's comedy. It'll be tags and stuff like that on the stuff. That's Kino. I need an outro of some sort. Oh, yeah. What should I do?
Play a song.
Yeah, I don't have any non-fried music. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week.
Polanski have any songs? I'm like, sue me, bitch.
And then listen to this classic Polanski track featuring Diddy.
The music in it was very like.
It was great. The music was fantastic. Actually, that's what they won an Oscar for. I think. The composer was fantastic, and like, with a big scene there is when she looks at the baby.
Yeah.
And then you love her acting, but I thought it was highlighted way more by the like. She has this reaction. The music swells, and it like lets you know like this is a fucked up looking baby.
Yeah. The music kind of so interesting.
And if I was there, I'd be like, let me see the baby. All right, thanks a lot.
Cool, no worries.
Kino with Khan.